Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome on back inside the dirty and dark warehouse of Beyond the Summit as we bring you yet another movie buff podcast here. Dakota joined with none other than Daniel Jerian, and we got special guest with us for the first time on one of our podcasts, our very own Andrew Gatzmeyer, the man of cardboard.
Thanks, guys. If you saw the tweet that went out recently, it's one of the best pictures of me that's ever been taken.
That's probably the loudest.
Danica's picture cameos are becoming infamous at this point.
Well, I chose that one to and this show actually to reveal myself kind of to the BTS community. So,
Hi, Andrew.
hey guys.
Hi, Andrew. So who are you? What the fuck do you do?
I make all the videos around here look shittier than they were a few years ago. But mostly I just light shit. I put these up. I screwed it into the wall.
Yep.
That's the kind of stuff.
You helped turn what this is into what it now looks like, a tiny home.
Tiny little home. I built the wall. I did actually nail that and put all the boards
Andrew can take all the
wall.
credit from Rob and Kevin.
No, Rob helped me do this, but you know, Kevin's the real man over here.
Hi, Kevin. Good morning.
And good morning to our wonderful producer,
guys.
the handsome Kevin here. Always here, bright and early, setting up our fancy new movie buff logo, courtesy of David, European David. Another David in BTS.
The 300th David.
Logo God. You're going to be seeing a new rollout of some awesome logos for some of our new shows and existing shows. That's courtesy of that man. So back to Andrew, all right?
Oh, God.
Back to this man here.
Hi.
How long you been here now? BTS?
Man, it's been a little over a year and a half.
Don't look at me, dude. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. I've been here longer than Dan.
I have no idea.
That's funny.
That's true.
Yeah, it's September of year before last. Something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've been here a while, it feels like. I like it here. BTS is nice. It's cool. Everyone's very friendly.
Andrew's seen this movie like 3 times.
This is my
third
time
I
seeing this movie.
So the reason we're bringing Andrew on is that he has seen the movie in the theater 3 times.
And then has made his way through the book. Did you finish it?
No. I'm like.
It's like a 12-page
It's
book.
a 200.
What is taking
It's a
you?
200-page book, and I am.
We're gonna read it to
here,
you today, folks.
Like it's 70. I'm at page 77. We're gonna finish the book on stream.
Yeah, after the podcast, Andrew's gonna read the book.
I mean, do we want to even just get into the book versus the fucking?
Well,
I don't want.
No,
I don't want to do it yet.
Stop that mouth!
we don't need to.
Stop resisting.
Get that AK out of here, young man.
Natalie Portman.
Should we dabble a bit? What have you guys been watching? All right, I know we're here to talk about Annihilation, but you got one, I got one, maybe you'll got one. What do you got over there?
I got one. I know Homeboy Pierre really wanted to know what we're watching, so we got to hook it up. I've been watching a show on Netflix called Ugly Delicious, which is a Netflix travel cooking show, but kind of with a twist. So it's David Chang, who previously did Mind of a Chef, that was produced by Anthony Bourdain. And David Chang is head chef. He runs a restaurant in New York called Momofuku. And he's so he's a Korean chef, and he has all these little stories in this new show, basically where he goes in on an idea of a food. So one episode is tacos, one episode is home food, one episode is fried rice, whatever. But then he goes to different cities. Then he has this round table where they talk about basically everything, but they don't talk about what the food tastes like. They talk about what the food means, what it means in culture, what it means when you think about it.
How close to Jiro Dreams of Sushi-ish?
No,
not near.
Because that's more about the art and the practice and the technique, right?
Okay.
Of cooking, and
Is it still that kind
I feel
of
it's also not
doc
about the
series?
food, really. It's about maybe the art of the food. So this one's not about the food either,
Is the
but something
style
else.
similar?
yeah, it's about what the food means, and so, what does watermelon and fried chicken mean in our culture, right? It's a very different meaning than just food, right?
Yeah,
it's
that's true.
super racist. You can't have that on a menu almost. And they get into that. They talk about fried rice and how when the Chinese came here and they changed everything they'd cooked to be American style Chinese, and they talk about crawfish and how there's 2 styles. There's Louisiana crawfish that is they don't fucking change a single thing. It's boiled, which is the worst way to cook it, and it's been done the same way. Nobody changes it. It's sacrilegious to do that. And then like the new Vietnamese style crawfish, which is like basically this backwards way of cooking it, and it's really cool. But very good show, super interesting. My only gripe is that it is too long, which I feel like I never say about shows.
What do you mean? Like the whole thing? Is it episodes?
Every episode is like almost an hour.
Well, I bet it's just like it shouldn't be dragged out as long as it is for
Yeah.
each little topic.
It feels like at 40 minutes or like 35 to 40 minutes every episode, I think it's over. And then they introduce a whole new topic, and I'm like, what? Like, here's a whole new location, whole new topic.
That concerns me a bit because I feel like if the show was really good, you'd be overjoyed almost to hear that there's another act, and you're like, oh, more. Oh, cool. But you're like, I was okay with the first half.
Yeah, it's weird. It's very conflicting because I still do really like the show, but I do feel like it's too long.
What's the ugly aspect?
The ugly aspect is it gets into the ugly issues surrounding food.
There's nothing to do with the appearance.
No, even things like
that's disappointing.
Like pizza. They did a pizza episode, and then he's like, well, I love Domino's, and then they do a whole section on Domino's.
Yeah.
You know, in the taco episode, they go to Taco Bell. You know, so they look at it from high end to low end, and
did they do the whole like pepperoni? That's not even what a pepperoni is.
It's not a pepperoni.
In Italy, they'd give you fucking peppers all over the place or some shit.
Yeah, they go to Italy and they'd like talk to like the pizza certification people, and they're like, yeah, this is what you have to actually be a pizza or whatever. And then they go to Domino's and they make some fucking like, you know, Alfredo,
McDonald's, yeah,
bacon,
that's interesting.
whatever.
All right, that's cool.
It's a good show. Ugly Delicious. I binged it. I end up keep coming back, even though I do think it's too long.
One season,
super worth it. One season so
Netflix?
far. A good amount of episodes. I want to say 8 to 10. I don't exactly remember. Check it out.
Sweet. What about you, sir?
What
have you been
oddly
on
enough,
lately,
okay, so I have the worst Netflix.
You've been watching Annihilation.
I've been watching Annihilation. No, I have like the worst Netflix habits ever. I refuse to watch like anything new because it's a background thing for me. I just fuck around on my computer and I just have the same 3 shows on loop just constantly. It's like Archer, Parks and Rec, and like 30 Rock, just because there's infinite amounts of them and I just leave them on. But I did try and watch something last night and I turned it off after like I think 2 minutes. It was so bad. It was a Netflix original. It was The Most Extraordinary Homes in the World, because I love those kind of
like
little
lifestyles
architects.
of the rich and famous.
Well, no. It's basically, well, it kind of ended up being something like that, where like this older like English former movie star woman who's like potato shaped, and then you've got some dude who I now just fades into nothingness. I can't remember anything about him, but it's just like them being like a little back and forth griping, like kind of.
Yeah, I want to do it this way.
God.
Okay, you're fucking up. If you want to watch a show like that on Netflix, you should watch Grand Design.
Grand Design.
Grand Design is super legit.
Yeah.
It's another show that I'm binging right now.
That one I have watched.
It's where they go through and they follow people on their journey as they build their house, usually from some crazy beginnings. And then, like, it's like a 3-year process or more as they're following people. Really cool. Especially if you're into architecture, if you're into home improvement, that kind of stuff. I'm so into those kind of shows.
Yeah,
so
they're very good. This one, huge disappointment. It was just like, oh, I can tell this is going to be the worst thing ever. Turn it off right
What's it
away.
called again?
Most Extraordinary Homes in the World or something. It's
So
like
do not watch.
Do not watch. Do not waste your time. Watch something else. There, Beer Fest. They just added Beer Fest back on there onto Netflix. I watched that last night.
Oh, that's classic.
Yeah, they sneak shit on
Das
there.
Boot.
They don't tell you.
That's
Das
classic.
Boot.
Well, there's that cool website that somebody posted in our Discord.
That
shows every release as it's coming out all the other stuff. I can't remember what it's called. Like
that kind of website's been around for a while.
Yeah, but I feel like the
very
new one they
handy.
found is really good.
Very necessary. I think they don't tell you.
No.
All they want is you to watch their original.
Well, they want you
content.
exploring. Young Dakota, what are you watching, bro?
I don't even remember the full name of it, but I finished that Jinx series.
Okay. Jinx. That's fine. I don't remember the rest of the title.
It's like a true crime about Bob Durst and
Fred Durst.
Fred Durst? No, sorry. Not Mr. Limp Bizkit, you son of a bitch. Just Bob Durst and the crazy shit he's done. I don't really want to go too far into it because I feel like I'll spoil it, but it's just one of those like unraveling webs of true crime where you think it's going down one way and you learn something new and learn something else, and then in the documentary process itself, it makes a whole new crazy discovery, and you're left at the end like, well, what the hell happened? And you have to go figure out what happened with the guy. So
did you like you've been on this like documentary kick, and you were like asking me for all my recommendations, and I felt so much pressure to give you like, because you wanted mind blowers, you know, you saw Icarus and you're like, I want to go down a rabbit hole and get my brain fucked, you know. And so I'd recommend a couple, and Jinx was one of them that we also found on that list. Did you come out the other end being like, that's worth it, you should watch that?
Yeah, I mean, it was mind-blowing. It wasn't mind-blowing like Icarus, but it also created some interesting feelings. Like, I felt very awkward and very, very anxious at times during just what was a simple interview. So I think if it's able to kind of draw those emotions out of me, I think that's pretty awesome.
He's a creep.
It's a creepy process. It's very intriguing. So
there's one scene in that I will not spoil, but we can talk about cryptically, that involves a bathroom. That is one of the most insane things caught on camera.
Yeah,
it's you should see it.
Awesome. Jinx, check it out. But we are here for Annihilation, so let's get into it, gentlemen. We saw Dan and myself caught Annihilation last night at the local theater. Andrew, again, he joined us. It was his third viewing of it. And it was a trip. I know we're probably going to be jumping into the trailer here in a second, but
one of
the
best movies to see, one of the most worthwhile to see without any kind of foreknowledge. You don't want to ruin it. Honestly, I don't want you to watch the second trailer, just the teaser, because it's the one that got me. I watched it. The one little line at the end is what made me say, okay, that's it. I have to see this movie, and I don't want to know anything else about it. And it was just, it hooked me, and it is just, so fucking good.
I guess with that note, I wouldn't mind just checking out the
teaser, please.
The teaser trailer.
Please.
Just the aperitif.
Teaser, please, or Ebenezer.
Can you describe its form?
No.
Was it carbon-based?
I don't know.
Did it communicate with you?
It reacted to me.
You really have no idea what it was.
Did your husband contact you at any point while he was away?
No.
It was his decision to go in.
Why did my husband volunteer for a suicide mission? You have to tell me where he was, what he was doing. I need to know what's inside. I could save him.
Right there at the end. I could save him.
All right, so let's try to rewind, and we had just seen that only. What do you think this movie's about?
I think it
Just
is
watching
about, that they are visiting an alien planet, and they are space scientist marines, and they have either crash landed or are somehow in this abandoned planet exploring, and her partner is lost there. That is what I thought it was going to be about.
I'm right there with you. I saw that, and I'm like, okay, they're on some sort of extraterrestrial planet, and they're entering the sphere of where a creature is there killing and doing harm. And we may have even seen the creature in the trailer, the skull thing, and that's about it. And that's really all I get. So,
I mean,
what were you walking away with that you were like, I gotta see it now?
Well, I mean, well, Alex Garland, first of all, you got anything he makes, you're gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna see it. But
Yeah.
it was, I mean, purely, I thought it was Earth, and it was just purely biology. I'm like, when the leaves coming out of her, I'm like, something, they're all turning into plants. And
Well, there's like the plant people in
the
it.
plant
yeah.
people, the shapes, and them turning into that, that is what got me. And then I was like, what did that line at the end? I could save him. It's the distortion in it. It's like, why are there multiple levels to that? It was really curiosity as to like what that had to do with the story.
I did think that the movie was gonna be more about plants, like that plants were the villains somehow.
Exactly. That's what I wanted to.
There's this old sci-fi book. When I worked at a retirement home, this lady there, she collected old science fiction books, and she was so cool. And she gave me this one book, and I wish I could remember what it was called. And it's about like it's kind of in some ways similar to this, where there's some like an event that happens, and then plants start just killing all humans. And I thought that this was gonna have some kind of twist that plants were
like vines were gonna come out and like fucking attack people and
Yeah.
suck them away. That's what like
We've been waiting
pulled back into the
docile
house
long
was.
enough.
yeah.
This is our Earth now. Ah, and they just take over. And
Like they're all just
human
out there
life.
shooting
Yeah.
trees down with machine guns
That
or
had to
something
be a
like
cost.
that.
At some point in our time in Hollywood or whatever, that certainly had to have been a plot line for a sci-fi. Plants come back and take over humans.
There's the one.
We've had enough of you chopping us down.
M. Night Shyamalan movie, The Happening, is kind of about that.
Okay.
Is kind of about that. I
It
think
had
it's
to
like
have been done.
spores, but it's plants. It's plants in generals. Yeah, but
So-
this movie is fucking crazy.
So it
and
is
yeah, if
crazy.
anybody hasn't seen it, please, dear God, like, can we get a big spoiler tag? Because this
Yeah.
is like, you just shouldn't listen to
Yes.
anything about this movie because it is such a different thing than you think it is, and it is so worth it. But I think, yeah, talking about Alex Garland is also kind of interesting because he's the director, and he did Ex Machina, which is another movie that is like, you should just go see it and not talk about it or learn anything. And I feel like is the same thing with this, where it didn't have a humongous success, but the people who saw it like love it. You know?
Yeah.
Well, there's a very big lack of faith from the studios in terms of spending money to promote or to distribute. That's why this film, it's on, what day is it now? In 3 days, it'll be on Netflix everywhere except the United States, China, and Canada, because they just weren't confident.
That's so crazy.
They weren't confident in it, so they sold
Yeah,
all
wait,
international
explain that.
rights.
Yeah, explain that.
So basically, yeah, Alex Garland maintained control through edit, all creative control, and in response to that, the studios wanted him to change the ending. They
The
basically
studio is
said-
Sony.
Sony, exactly. Sony wanted him to change the ending, basically dumb it down. He's like, it's too much for audiences. We don't want them to have to like
They have
think
to
that
think.
hard. Yeah,
They have to
exactly.
think, and they're
he
stupid.
he basically said,
Don't do that
"Fuck
to 'em."
off. This is my movie. You gave me the money, and we agreed that I would make this movie." And really, with a book like this, you got to just let him do what he's going to do. A studio's not going to get it right. But they were like, okay, we're definitely not going to recoup our fucking budget here because people aren't going to go see it because it's going to be confusing. So they just went ahead and sold international rights, everything except U.S., China, Canada, to Netflix. So it'll be released on March 12th on Netflix,
That's insane.
which is the worst way to watch this movie.
Which I feel like it's crazy because if you play the culture marketing play, this movie has an amazingly diverse all-female cast who are badass as fuck, cool as shit, and in like a setting that we've never seen before, with visuals that will blow you away and a story that is like so next level. The fact that they didn't push this on people is so pussy of the studio. They were so scared of it, obviously.
Yeah.
I would hate to think that we are already in a time where our sci-fi movies have to always be about just blasting guns onto aliens and stuff. Well, that's
Right.
always been a staple, and I will always go see if they came out with an Alien like 7, 8, 9, or
Yeah.
Schwarzenegger kills the Predator again. Like, I love shooting up aliens in sci-fi movies, but there's also a heavy appreciation for sci-fi movies that are just more cerebral.
Yes,
That's the
that's
word,
the
right?
absolute
Okay,
word.
and then you can come out and talk about it with people for like 30 minutes to be like, what'd you get from it? What'd you
Yeah.
get from it? I'm not going to do that with Alien and with like Predator and stuff, but with this movie, we didn't do it because we wanted to save it for this show, but we could have easily sat in that. We did sit in the theater.
We did.
To the end,
We did.
The lights came on.
and still had to talk and talk. And they're like, "Guys, we got to sweep up your messy Reese's Pieces." And I'm like, "We wanted to talk about this for like 30
Yeah,
minutes.
we were there. That was the first time that I didn't have to ask everybody to be like, yeah, we're staying through the credits, because I always want to. And that time we were just like, because you're just like there. Because the last 30 minutes of the movie, my face was just like constantly just like.
Locked into
What?
fucking contorted
A
shit.
lot of weirdness going on. A lot of weirdness. Yeah.
Big eyes, man. You're just staring, engrossed. Okay, but did you think it was too much? Did the ending?
Do we want to jump to the ending right
Yeah.
now?
So last
just-
chance.
I mean-
last chance. Spoilers, everyone.
No.
Last
Before
fucking-
I don't want to get there yet, but I just mean initial.
Chance, get the fuck out.
Did you think it was too smart for not smart, but was it too much for people to handle? Did it need to be?
It made me
Would dumbing it down have made it more approachable? I mean, how could you possibly have
It's just
made
like-
it any less than what it is?
It just sounds like people were like, "We have to give them the answer. We have to." They simply won't be able to figure it out, and they won't be able to sleep, and they won't be
Yeah.
able to live if they don't get the answer. They're not smart. They can't figure it out. That's all I could think of. It's like, oh, there's multiple theories that you're left with on what could be happening or whatever. But I love the another big word that I'm gonna follow, ambiguity of it.
Dakota read a dictionary last night.
Shit, man.
Holy
I'm on it
cow!
right now. I got 2 big ones out, so I'm done for the rest of the podcast. But yeah,
fart.
so again, it's like, come on, we're big boys and girls. We can handle the questions. We can handle the unknown.
I like being provoked into thinking about meaning, like not only what the movie's meaning in, but that reflection on myself and how it makes me feel about life and the people around me. And that is what I think movies are supposed to do, is to get you into that character and make you feel what they're feeling, and then make you really look at yourself and apply it to your life. And this movie does that, and it is fucking crazy. Yeah. But I actually believe there is enough of a base value that even if you're not appreciating the layers of crazy shit that's going on and the kind of like implied things that he does with the visuals, it's fucking cool.
It's still all
It's just
around. It's
fucking
just a
cool.
cool movie. It's
And-
an experience. It is really an experience to see this movie because it's beginning to end. It's a fucking roller coaster, and
It's a super
you
trip.
cannot anticipate any of it.
All right, so
All right, let's get into
we're on Earth.
We are on Earth. It is an undefined area of North America, coastal North America. That's
Swampland.
as it says in the book, Area X.
In time, we don't really know.
Present, near future.
Wait, we do know where it is. It's near John Hopkins.
We're looking at the technology.
That's not. That doesn't have to be near John Hopkins. That's where the helicopter fucking came in. You know.
Oh, I guess so, yeah.
That's where she's based out of.
I'm talking about time, right?
I'm fairly certain it's either now or very near future. Okay. Because the tech, nothing's crazy, right? You know.
Yeah, they don't use any crazy like space weapons or anything, and they use like basic camcorders.
Mm-hmm. Sony, I think it's
It's
like
like
the
the
same ones
camcorders
that we
have,
use.
yeah.
And the guns seem pretty. Yeah, it's
The dad
probably
cam.
safe to say that it's present time here. So, but something's happened. Something has come to the Earth,
That fucking thing.
and it's a
that
giant
hits-
soap bubble.
It is a giant
It
soap
looks like a
bubble,
giant
right?
soap bubble has flown down and just created a big bubble.
Oh.
And that's all we're kind of left with at the moment.
Ripply, oily, beautiful surface. The colors. Ugh. But okay, the fucking meteor or whatever it is that comes, that initial scene with the acoustic
Lighthouse.
track
Yeah.
and the lighthouse, it just fucking slams into it, and then boom, title card, Annihilation. Oh, what a way to intro that movie. It was so good. So then, okay, what hit the lighthouse? That's a big question. Was it a fucking
Giant like cell.
exactly.
Yeah, it's like
yeah,
the big anus.
I think of it as like an alien terraforming device.
Mm.
Is what I think. Is like it's just we're gonna get into theories right now because this is whatever. I've also read nothing about it. I'm just like, it felt like to me that is a alien terraforming device. Maybe they sent it out to just planets everywhere, just completely out in the solar system, whatever. But that hits with a fucking vengeance and changes everything there.
I think it is pure chance, pure happenstance, a rock floating in space with a single cell on it, smacks into our planet and begins dividing as, like, you know, the whole theme of the movie, cells dividing and all that. I think some other life form hits and just starts doing its thing, and it just so happens to be...
What's the sphere then?
The sphere, I think maybe... I mean, it's definitely something to do with, like, either the terraforming aspect. Maybe, like, it's...
What's
for
it called?
lack of a better word, atmosphere, you know?
In a green cell, it has, like, a wall. I can't remember what it's called. You know what I'm talking about? You know, the nucleus.
Man.
Oh, shit. Yeah,
And
yeah,
then the green
exactly.
cell, it's
That's
got-
the cell wall.
Yeah, the cell wall.
It's not just the cell wall, is it? I think it might be.
I
actually.
think it's
Fucking
cell
A,
wall.
it is.
Maybe that was the cell wall.
All right, Dakota over here.
Well, they
Get
are
the
Fill
answers.
bubble.
It's not a bad idea because
It
they
actually is,
beat
yeah.
you over the head in this movie with cells divide. By the way,
Cells divide.
they literally
Yeah,
open the movie
that's how it opens, yeah.
with the stereotypical teacher in a class who's going to explain the entire plot of the movie
Yeah.
in the beginning of the movie.
Exactly.
If you ever
The
see a
theme of
teacher
the
scene,
movie.
Yep.
yeah, whatever they're saying is not
Is the
just there
movie.
for a reason or for no reason. It is the entire movie, and
It's
she
like-
goes into life, cells dividing, 1 becomes 2, 2 becomes 4, the magic prime numbers. of
Everyone
life.
that lives and dies.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, boom, straight into this is a cancer cell, female patient, blah, 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 John Hopkins over the course of the... Yeah, so the one they were looking at was a cancer cell,
And it, like,
which is a very
spreading-
important, another very
spreading all of
important
its
part.
traits, right, amongst the other cells as it's
Right,
spread
yeah,
too.
malignant tumor.
I missed that part.
Mm-hmm.
Makes
Yeah, you
sense,
weren't
though.
paying attention. You were trying to open your Reese's Pieces.
Yeah, opening the Reese's Pieces was a challenge at the beginning of the movie.
Other than that, as destruction's like coming down and we're learning more about Lena, and she's a biologist, and aside from explaining the theme of pretty much the whole movie, her skill set, she does have a husband who returns, right? He comes back also right in the beginning,
Kane.
or he's
Yeah.
there suddenly, and he doesn't know what's going on. He's just like, I'm
Well,
here now.
to give us context about Kane, the husband, one of the first things is her interaction with another teacher right after that class where she describes the entire movie. He comes down and says, it's not an insult to his memory. You can come to a barbecue.
Yeah, he's been gone for a year.
He's been gone for 12 months
Presumably
and presumably dead. Like he just gone. And what we do figure out is he's military guy, so he leaves on a mission of some kind and assumed dead. So that's where we are when we meet Lena. 12 months, husband gone. She's on her way out to paint she catches herself. I'm going to paint our bedroom. The bedroom. And so that's our little indication, right? That
And it's awkward between the two. It's
Definitely.
not like, it's like if you had friends, you were even coworkers, friends,
Well,
like
he
after a
gives-
year, they would just understand.
He's
her.
like, it's not an insult to his memory.
Yeah, it's like, damn,
He
what's
really gets in
happening
there,
here? It's
yeah.
weird. There's weirdness between these two right now.
He gives the elbow grab.
Yeah.
They cut to a wide after they don't show it. They show him step in, and then they cut to the wide at the end of the scene to show
The contact.
the contact, and he's touching her elbow, and it's like, yeah, they fuck. Like that's what they're
I've
saying.
never
right
touching
there.
elbows.
Yeah, I've never
elbows.
touched an elbow
Yeah,
with
there's
a person I didn't have
definitely-
sex with.
There's something going on right there. And we do learn that there was something going on there. It's just like, okay, interesting.
That has
They're-
a lot
they're,
of-
They're putting in some character depth into.
Yeah, I want to talk
Mrs.
about the
Portman
sex
a
scene
bit.
at some point because I feel like there's way
always
more
love
going
to.
on in the
Yeah,
sex scene
yeah.
than
Hey man, the sex scenes make the movies. You know.
Fucking pervert.
boobs.
Okay, so thing lands on Earth, giant soap bubble, and what we come to learn. Okay, so he's coming back, but he's fucked up, right?
Not himself. Very aloof. Just
Yeah, he doesn't know what's happening. You know, he's just like, I don't know where I am, why I'm here, or whatever. And he's treating her very kind of cold, but you don't know if it's a deeper meaning to it, or if he's coming back from. He might have like, at this time I'm thinking like, does he have amnesia from war or some shit?
right, because she's hitting him with what base did you fly into?
Yeah.
You know,
Because you don't know he was in the soap bubble. They haven't
what
implied
happened
that
to
at
your
this time.
unit? All this stuff. So she's just like, okay, you came back from fucking the Middle East somewhere on a mission, or God knows where. He's just fucked up.
Yeah, and it's like,
I
do you not
think
know, or can you not classify? Like, what the fuck's going
And
on?
he says, yeah, sure, classified. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like-
I think she thinks that he's not telling her on purpose because so she's ex-military
her.
too, and then typically he's going on classified missions. She doesn't, later she says, "I don't ask, he doesn't tell," even though that's not necessarily true. So we do prove that she is kind of a liar, by the way.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
also
I mean,
say, sorry, go ahead. You can go first.
that was her motivation. I think there is when she says, "How long have you been back?" you know, I mean, that's a little bit of her insecurity,
Yeah.
you know, coming out in that
He's been
situation.
around, maybe.
Maybe how long have you just been here not talking to me? So that's her having, you know,
I wanted to
cheated
give her
on him.
credit, and that scene a lot of credit for their acting in that, because it's like if you were just madly in love with him and you guys loved each other and he had just come back, she would obviously be like freaking out much more. But afterward, you learn about their history and the affair and everything. You're like, oh, that's why she's a little pulled back.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, it makes a lot more sense why they're so pulled back. And I'm like, wouldn't she be a lot more hysterical right now?
Yeah.
Like, if the husband just rolled in after a year being away, like, you'd be freaking out and then freaking out on
So
him.
much-
like, why are you not telling me anything? And
so
now
much
it's like,
tension.
oh, I see. There's a lot of tension there for a reason.
Yeah, she
So,
thinks that maybe he's mad.
I like that.
She thinks he knows,
was
and
good.
that he's mad, and that he's behaving the way he is because he's fucking pissed at her for cheating on him.
Yeah.
You know, he tries to kiss her, and he's like just a dead mouth.
Yeah.
You know, it was all.
I mean, I
Yeah,
was having
yeah.
trouble kind of, is it like, or is it he is just such a hard ass, he's like, I gotta go. You know, I don't want to give a last
That-
big kiss or some shit. Like,
on-
I'm like, is he kind of
when
an
he
over
left,
hard ass?
On
Yeah,
my
like when
second
he's-
viewing, that was my opinion. That
Yeah.
it was just something about the mission got to him. I didn't put together that he had figured it out.
Yeah, no, I thought it was he knew, and he was ready to get out of there. To him, his marriage was destroyed.
Yeah.
There was no way to save it. Every scene with him and her is him being distraught about the cheating. He's staring up the moon and thinking about her cheating, and then pretends he's not.
Yeah.
Even when they're sitting on the couch, there's a physical giant space between them. They show a wide shot. He's on this side, she's on this side, and the way the camera's framed is very much to imply the distance between them.
That one is the most vicious too.
Yeah.
I think because it's just a hey. It's
Yeah.
the
Hey.
most accusing one, and it's the one that really makes her break down the hardest after.
Yeah.
afterwards.
It's just he just goes, hey,
Hey.
you know, like, and it was just, ooh,
Yeah.
acting.
Yeah, very good, very tense, and you really never get to see them be like a joyous actual couple until it's that mega flashback or whatever,
Yeah.
them tickling and
The
giggling
tickle
in the bed.
fight,
The
but
tickle
even the
fight,
tickle,
even-
but before the tickle fight and at the end of the tickle fight, sort of.
Preceding that was him looking up at the moon, definitely thinking about her. Being,
Yeah.
You know,
Just very, very
Oscar
intriguing
Isaac
and-
killing it, like 3 characters out of him. you know.
Yeah, there is. Yeah. Well, I want to get more into how he had kind of a different
Yeah,
character as well
yeah.
later on. That was just
Yeah.
like, wait, what? All right. So he's there. It's awkward. Takes a sip of the water. There's blood. Something's happening.
I don't
He's
feel
freaking
well.
out. I don't feel well. Clearly, something's happening on the inside as he's coughing up blood. They call a paramedic. While he's clearly getting worse and going into critical condition, the fucking like feds show up, or Area X Force shows up.
Southern Reach.
The Southern Reach. That's right.
It's the covert. It's like a pseudo government agency.
Men in Black,
Yeah,
Area
yeah,
51 kind of shit.
Yeah.
So they show up and take that man right out of the fucking ambulance, take her, go on
Hit
their
her
way.
with a tranquilizer.
That's right. Yeah, shut up. We're going to Area X, and sorry. So they head that way, and yeah, shit gets real fast. They get a front row seat of what is now the Shimmer. Not the soap,
Shimmer.
the soap bubble. The Shimmer. What do you think about the name The Shimmer? Because when I think of Shimmer, and I'm a man who has musical theater background, it's like Shimmer. And I'm like,
I think
I mean, that's dude. Look at that.
I think
Oh
it's
my God.
yeah. I think it's appropriate.
I just want to blow through it.
I know.
Drippy.
It looks like an oil spill on the ocean. It's just it's insane to look at when it's moving.
It just reminds me of soap bubbles. Yeah.
Can you
Like-
recreate that, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You think you could?
100%.
Totally, I think we have the technology.
I'll tell you
yeah.
how you do it. You literally, I've made visuals using
has the
stuff
software.
like this. No, well, that's later, but this is you just take 2 like PVC pipes and dip them in like soap water, and then you can make like a giant sheet,
Yep.
and you just like
Oh my
shoot
God.
it pretty tight.
I had a cool idea.
Yeah.
We need to have like a show where we could pit like you guys head to head or someone like head to head and be like recreate that, and it's like within a time frame,
Oh,
and
that's
whoever
pretty
can
cool.
like do it in front of judges and make it look the closest.
Yeah.
That's pretty fun.
pretty dope.
That's like a super pixel peep. It's like a pixel
Yeah,
peep
yeah,
recreate parody.
The pixel, yeah, and the name could be Pixel Peeping. Or
It could be
some shit
Pixel
like that.
Peeping.
Pretty good idea.
Pixel Peeping.
Hey guys, we got a new show. Check out Pixel,
Pixel
Peeping.
Peeping.
David's gonna make a logo and it's gonna be sick.
All right. One thing with the Shimmer, a big thing about that, not in the book.
The shimmer is
What?
not in the book.
What?
So wait, what are you looking at?
It
then?
is
What?
an invisible barrier that they cross.
So how do they know in the book that it's expanding? Because you learn quickly that this shimmer has been there for 3 years, and it has expanded from just being around the lighthouse to now filling up the whole swampland.
You have to remember that this is a very loose adaptation that he's not going. Like, he says it himself. It's
I guess
a
it's
dream
just,
of the book.
In the book, is there any sort of sense of urgency that it's taking over the planet?
No, I don't gather that so far because they've sent in like, you know, I mean, they keep sending in people, but it's not like it's like it's been 2 years in the book since the last expedition went in, and they're resending in this new team of
So
women.
they just see like a funky ass lighthouse, and they're like, "Get in there."
They know where they need to go. They know like their landmarks. But it's an invisible barrier that they cross, and the way they cross it is that the psychologist hypnotizes them. And that's a big part of the book.
Big
difference.
difference.
A lot of hypnotizing happens, and it plays a big role in how the characters develop. And so that's just another thing that's just a big departure. It's not
Does she
in
pull
the
out
book.
a watch and fucking shake it back and forth in
No,
front of them?
no, they're preconditioned. So like, she says that Ventress, she screens all the people, she selects all the teams that go in. So she is a psychologist, and so she is like mentally in the book. She like essentially conditions them like with keywords and phrases and things that trigger whatever responsive states, and then she says you will remain calm, you will be focused on the objective, you will not whatever, things like that. So hypnotism is involved in the book, but not in here. There is no shimmer in the book, unfortunately, which I thought was like, I thought that was gonna be a big thing, but this is an Alex Garland creation.
Wow.
Guys, have you ever been hypnotized?
No, I remember back at like the California State Fair, like they had shows where hypnotists would hypnotize the audience, but you know, I always felt like that was just the audience plays along, otherwise they're gonna look like the asshole who didn't play along.
Yeah, I was in a hypnotism show.
Oh my god.
Okay, there's actually a photo of me somewhere. You could probably dig it up, where I have my shoes on my eyes like binoculars.
Okay.
I was at University of Arizona, and there was a hypnotist that came to campus. And
Where's the campus?
I will say 100%. It is you just play along. At least I did. Maybe other people something different happened. I was just having fun and playing along.
I would just like
that was it, dude. Here's the thing. It was like,
is that really you just?
Yeah,
that's all it is. I mean, the thing is like, what would you do if you're the asshole who's up there? It was just like, I'm not hypnotized.
Yeah, no,
I'm not.
Dude, because here's what happens.
Just do nothing.
There are. So first he picks a bunch of people, he brings them on, and then he like grabs you and he looks at you and he's like, I swear he's just looking to see like, are you gonna play? And then like, yeah, okay, you can go. And then he'll be like, nope. And then you send them back. And then he says, he's like, if anybody at any time feels like they're not doing this, like, tell me and we're just gonna get you out. So it's like if you don't.
It's pretty much
you just go.
It's a big Simon Says. Pretty much.
It is.
He's just telling you to do stuff and you're doing silly stuff.
I will say it was weird because it did feel like silly, but I don't know how. I feel like most of it was me just doing it. You know.
It is. It's
like,
just like,
that's got to be the fun
of it,
right?
Eccentric man, and I'm gonna let you be silly for a bit.
Yeah. You're just playing a game. He's like, do this thing, and you do the thing, and then you're like, it's just silly.
Now
and
walk
funny.
in the shimmer, dumbass.
Yeah.
Shit.
Oh, but oh man, hypnotism. I wonder if I can find that photo. It's pretty stupid.
I'd like to see that.
Yeah. So hypnotism is not real. So fuck that shit. Okay, moving on.
So she is now at Area X at God damn it, what was it
Southern
called?
Reach.
Southern Reach, and she's with the ladies. Apparently, there is a bit of a team here gathered, some sort of force, as you come to learn. Each of them with their own special background.
Girl force.
Damaged
Girl
goods.
force. Here they are. Boom.
They are
Kevin
though.
with the cue.
They're women on purpose because everybody else who's been in there has been men in the military.
Military men.
And these are all scientists and women. They're like, at this point, they have so no idea what's going on that they're just like, what are the variables? What can we switch up?
3 years of special forces walking in there and never
coming
hearing
back.
from them. Yeah, no one coming back, and you're not hearing anything from them once they go in.
Dude, they look
Gentlemen,
so sick.
how long
though.
do you honestly wait before you just drop a nuke on the lighthouse. Like the thing is expanding.
Yeah.
Just
and
carpet bomb it?
years are going by, and they
Good question.
are at like almost the breaking limit here. They're like it's starting to get to maybe the cities. Like once it gets to that point, the jig is fucking up, and I don't know what we do. Donald Trump's gonna probably say some crazy shit, and then the bomb's gonna get dropped right on it. What would happen?
I imagine that.
Why wasn't Trump in this movie, by the way?
Oh, for fuck's sake! I imagine that's just one of those things where it's like, that would just make it a shitty movie to watch.
But it's cool. Like I think that maybe in some crazy world,
Or
it
maybe
would be
it just wouldn't
plausible
work.
that they're like, let's just get some fucking scientists in there now. Like,
Yeah.
And they have the full crew.
Jennifer Jason Leigh is insane in this movie.
And she is.
Who is she?
She's Ventress.
Oh, the Dr. Ventress. So she's the psychologist and pretty much like the leader here.
She's the de facto leader.
Natalie Portman, aka
Natalie
Lena,
Portman.
who is the biologist.
Her eyes
Ex-military.
are insane in
Miss
this whole
Cells.
movie.
I know everything about cells and how they work.
Cells and
We have
John Hopkins.
Shepard.
Yep,
right?
Shepard.
Who is also a bit scarred coming into this. She had lost a daughter to leukemia. Now remember, these are all damaged goods. She has an affair.
And she says that when she lost her daughter, she also lost herself.
Yeah.
Yep.
way
And we
it
go
was
back,
two
going back to
bereavements.
the good doctor here has cancer.
Cancer. A very big theme of this movie.
And she has no family, no friends.
No family, no friends, no reason to go back.
Yeah.
She's all forward on this one.
Yeah.
She says no concession in her.
And then we have Josie, right?
Josie,
You are
Josie
a beast,
Raddick,
bro.
And she
Physicist.
is a physicist, yeah.
Just
recently
finished her-
graduated.
Yeah,
Like
her
she's
doctorate.
she's
or-
doing harm to herself, apparently.
She-
Cutting herself up. She's a
yeah,
cutter.
she cuts herself, and she says, she asked her she tried to kill herself? Oh, no, the opposite. I think she wanted to feel alive.
Yeah.
It was very interesting. All these characters, yeah.
And the final one, which I actually don't know the name off the top of my head, it's someone with an A, right? Let me look it up. I got it right here.
You got it.
Anya. Anya. And she's a paramedic and
From Chicago.
Chicago.
What up?
and acts like a Chicago through and through.
Psycho.
Substance abuser, though.
Yeah, she's an addict.
They don't,
I like
you don't
how
see
she
it
said-
in the, I don't
I
think
like
you see
how-
it in the movie though, but that's
No,
just
well, what
said.
they said, she said she's sober, which means she's an addict. That was the line. She
Oh,
said,
right,
yeah, she's sober, which means she's an addict. Which it's interesting to think about that. It's true. Usually if somebody says they're sober, it means
Right.
that they have a problem.
Exactly.
You sober right now?
No.
Okay.
I've not been sober for a long time.
All damaged, all surprisingly kind of confident, getting up to the point where they're about to go in.
Nobody seems,
Yeah, it's like, okay, special fucking I would be freaking the fuck out. 3 years of special forces in whatever area X could come up with.
No
have
one
failed up to
returns.
this time.
No
and no
one
one returns. So
returns.
I think you got to know going into this, like, is what they say at one point, in their own words, is a suicide mission. Yeah.
Very, very interesting. Oh, one thing I want to mention quickly about kind of Alex Garland's directing style and the way that these actors approach their characters is that it's a collective, as he describes it. Everyone is responsible for their own characters. So it's not a very much, I need to coax a performance out of you, I need this from you. It's, you better come to set with what your character knows and wants and feels. Everyone is kind of
Wow.
responsible for
So much
their little
trust.
department. Well, obviously they all, talk about it together and things like that, but it's not I'm directing you specifically for this. It's, Natalie, what do you think here? Well, I mean, very much this character because you've been studying it and you've been becoming this character on your own, at your own, as your responsibility. The same with all of them. A lot of trust.
I feel like maybe that's why, and I feel like I'm going to get hated on for this.
Oh,
but-
you're about to say the acting performances are not great. I hate to dribble on your toes, but God damn it, Dan, I was about to say, I feel like I'm going to say something that a lot of people are going to hate me for. And if you say it before me, I'm just
Go.
I thought the acting in this wasn't the best thing ever. I thought Kane was pretty intriguing when you consider all the different kind of profiles he had to meet. I mean, Natalie Portman was fine as the lead and felt very vulnerable, but like when she had to be a hard ass, it was kind of awkward. When Anya had to be an hard ass, it was kind of awkward. Like, I just wasn't blown away based on maybe being spoiled by some of the movies we've already seen coming up to this point in the podcast so far, like performances with Whiplash and Shape of Water. I know these are setting a high standard, but here I'm not I'm more just blown away with the premise of the movie and the whole cerebral effects of it, but not the acting. I'm not wow.
Yeah, I think the one actor who kind of like that stuck out to me was Ventress. Surprisingly, very, very good, but very kind of stagnant, very flat. I didn't really feel any kind of progression from her. In the beginning, she was still cold, hard, flat, monotone, and she was that way all the way to the end.
Yeah.
Maybe because she was just like, okay, I'm dying, I have cancer, I don't give a fuck. But it didn't seem like there was any kind of like development to her character. And I'll give you that. The rest of them were kind of flat. The whole Anya yelling scene, or the one that I hated was Lena is a liar.
I was not intimidated whatsoever, and just like kind of, I don't know. I mean, are you trying to either her portraying her as a hard ass or portraying her going mad? I wasn't convinced either way.
And then Lena's her kind of hard ass line was, "I want to know where the fuck I am," at the beginning when she's like in the little room.
When she's yeah.
I was like, okay.
Well, Natalie Portman is a very tiny little thing, but I will say she was super badass in the scene when she killed the alligator.
Yeah.
And
gets down and
she was incredible. And also the entire what are you
my God.
God, Kevin, you're a god. Okay, when she killed the alligator, that was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And in the scene the shot you showed previously, the interrogation, her performance is unreal. She is so good at, like, I would like to watch it a second time to look at her, because she is kind of playing them in a way in this. She knows more than she's giving away, but she knows that she can get away with it by just claiming she doesn't know anything, because that's what the other guy did.
Very visually disturbing scene. Each time I watch it, her face and her eyes are so dark, and they look so different than from when she's inside the shimmer.
Yeah.
Her head looks deformed, this right in here, and I feel like she's always in shadow. I can never fully see her eyes.
Yeah.
And it was just,
she's
it's
scary.
disturbing.
Yeah, and she has these moments where it almost feels like she just gets lost, and then she like comes back, and she's like, but in such a subtle, really, really nice way, and it feels very like some shit just happened to you, and you have a room of people watching.
Not clearly the same person she was when she went in. Like, that's very clear.
Yeah.
Which is an acting chop in itself. I know Natalie's great. I feel like she did what you'd expect from her. Nothing extravagant, and certainly nothing extravagant from any of the others. That's just my 2 cents about
Does anybody know how long they shot this movie? How long the production
was? No. I know it was all shot in the UK, but the sceneries was based on northern Florida.
I'm wondering what the budget was and what the length of the thing was, because some stuff.
40 million.
40 million is the budget.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's pretty legit.
Yeah.
Because I feel like some stuff it reminded me of her performance, and it's so dumb, but in the Saturday Night Live shorts, when she yells in this, sometimes I heard the same Natalie from the
rap videos
yelling, and I was wondering, I was like, how short was this production? Because I feel like when I get that sense from her, it's her more being herself and kind of just reading a line rather than acting. And I don't know if that's an effect of a shorter production or not, because I have no idea how long the production was.
I think that might be a product of the directing style.
Okay, I was gonna say though, you hate on the acting. Acting, I did think was weak at some points, but other points was so good that I was like really happy. I found the directing to not feel like it didn't. When I see a Spielberg film, it doesn't matter what the movie's about. I go, that's Spielberg, and I can see it. You can smell it, right? Alex Garland, I do not think that if you blinded somebody and showed them Ex Machina and this, that you would understand that it's the same person. I do not think he has the auteurship right now that he will develop, and maybe it's because of the collaborative process, because he lets so many other people touch the project. I think the only way you really connect them is that it's a hyper-cerebral science fiction movie with like heavy topics, but he doesn't light it the same. He doesn't like use the same kind of camera movements. It is a very different movie, and that's cool. Like, that is like a director being like, I can do this and I can do that. Well, like, I don't have to be a slave to my own style. Yeah. I don't have to be like Fincher and always be locked off and always be on tripod unless I'm doing an elaborate set piece with like a camera that doesn't make sense. I don't have to be like Spielberg and do all these same kind of shots that I'm not have to be Wes Anderson and center frame everything and make my character's shirts match the wallpaper. Like, he's a different kind of director.
Right. He's really he said that he took nothing away from directing Ex Machina. Someone asked, like, what did you bring as a director from Ex Machina to this? He said nothing, because it's like it's entirely different. It's nothing that, oh, well, this worked on this movie, so it's going to work on this one, right? You got to take it as the project that it is. Nearly impossible to do, to represent something that he did. I think he probably achieved it.
If you guys were directors, just like real quick, do you think that, and you were just throwing budgets of money and you could make the stories you want, would you try to make something different each time, or would you like to have a signature style that you're recognized for as all of your titles continue to come out? What do you think, Andrew?
Oh my God. It would depend on the success of the first movie.
Let's say the first movie's great and everyone's looking forward to your next one.
I mean, it's more about the story. I mean, I think if the story's worth doing, it doesn't matter how it looks, I guess. Is that really?
I think
you're just going to go with what works with the story, and
I'd be really more interested in making a unique story than having a film look the same as the last one.
Okay.
I think a lot of art is about repetition, and that if you want to become a master at something, you have to do it 1,000 times. Whether you are a glass artist and you want to make the best, sphere ever, you're going to make thousands of those spheres, and you're going to get so good at it that it becomes not even like second nature, but like just like breathing. If you're a painter, you're going to paint, and you're going to do that the way you do it over and over and over again if you really want to become a master. If you want to just explore and experiment and do things and be an artist that is that way, I think that is fine too. But I do think that there is something to be said about repetition in art, and that becoming a master requires you to put those hours in of doing the same thing, or at least in some way. Like, you can innovate and bring new like elevation to that style, but I think that if you want to, you have to develop your own style.
Well, here's where I think Alex Garland achieves that, is that he's primarily a writer, and I think he has done that. Like, that's his primary, portfolio, is all writing titles, right? And an author, really. And so I think in that sense, he has kind of been repetitive. He's stuck to a genre, kind of a general themes, but when it comes to the films, he's only done 2, possibly 3, not confirmed. He's done 2 films only, right? But he's had a career of writing, and I think this is him just saying, is this working for me? Is this style? Maybe he's just dipping a toe in which way works for me.
I guess structure and dialogue, there are similarities between this and Ex Machina, more than visual style.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Don't hate me. Ex Machina, was it a book also?
No, that's an original story.
Written by him.
I was curious if he's like a strong author, like you say. I wonder if his thing might be like continuing to take these novels and stories and adaptations and finding clever ways to be able to incorporate his own writing into the novel to make it translate better on the screen.
I mean,
in this case, adding shimmers and all this extra stuff. In this case,
nearly all of it, from what I can tell.
It's
really just a sense of what the book was. But yeah, he's killing it. I can't wait to see his next thing. Okay, real quick, I want to touch. Do you think he actually directed Dredd? Carl Urban tweeted some sort of kind of pseudo-confirmation that Alex Garland was the actual director of Dredd. Now, I can't confirm anything, like whether or not he was the on-set director or if he was just involved in the editing process, but last thing I heard was that he was involved in some way heavily in Dredd.
I need to see that movie again. I just remember
I've never
it being
seen
pretty
Dredd.
Awesome. You haven't seen Dredd?
Both of you.
Well, first Judge Dredd, of course, is
I've
the
seen
classic
Judge Dredd.
Sylvester Stallone,
yeah.
like blah, blah. But the new one is like that immense tower of fucking action.
Well, Lena Headey is the villain in it.
I just got to see it again. I hadn't seen it since it came out. It's
good.
It's been like
I
10
like it.
years
I like
or
it a lot,
something.
yeah.
Explain the concept of ghost directing to people, because I don't even think people really understand it, and because there's some famous examples in the past, and it's something that I think is a weird. I think it's a weird thing to attribute somebody as a ghost director.
I mean, practically, I don't even really understand. I feel like the big one,
It's basically just something that has
like
influence.
Tombstone, Waterworld, like Kevin Costner, Waterworld.
Yeah, Kevin Costner famously ghost directs his movies, which I really just means that
Which
he's
just means
involved more.
He just means like after. Yeah.
Good job, sir.
Movie's legit, bro.
I actually do like Waterworld. It's
That's on our like.
It's a fucking spectacle. Don't
terribly awesome movies. That's on the list for
so
sure.
bad you love it.
Terribly awesome. That's a good
That's
show.
a good show. Terribly awesome.
You
All
just
right,
come
next
up with
show.
all these
Jesus,
titles,
man.
bro.
Just don't take them.
I think it's just the person. In this case, usually an actor. Well, in those last two cases, but someone who is just there to influence the actual, like, it's a figurehead, right? You got a person there who's like, okay, action, and calling the shit like that, and then between takes, Kevin Costner comes over, he's like, look, tell them to do this, all right? He's fucking it up. I don't like this. Now, I don't know if that's practically how it works, but I mean, that's got to be the most demoralizing thing, to be the dude just calling action. I mean, but gets the credit, I guess. How does that work?
Yeah, I don't know. It's intriguing. Makes me want to go back and check Dredd again, but I don't know how.
Well, I mean, everyone agrees that it's an
snip the
amazing
director balls
thing.
under him.
I don't want to get too off track on Dredd, but
Let's get back to the movie. We've
Movie,
just walked through the
Annihilation.
shimmer, guys. We're walking through,
we're not-
and
we're
we're
not
looking
getting
around,
far.
and there's flowers that are on weird things, and there are animals that have clearly cross-pollinated with each other, plants sexing each other. I think
Look
I
at these.
reversed that.
Yeah, new species.
new species, deer with flower tree branch antlers. And
Well,
a
that
cool
ain't
thing
right.
about this particular frame in this scene is that when we first see the first white deer on the right, the clean one, the crisp, not patchy, it's only one single deer. And then when we do the shot reverse onto Natalie Portman and then back to here, we see that second deer step out of it, literally a cell dividing.
Yeah, did you
An
notice that?
entire deer steps out of the other one. It's
No,
like
I
a
didn't see
full
the step out. But
Is
Yeah.
that literal that it divided, or is it
Represent-
just that is it represent like a visual representation? I feel like it has to just be visual. I can't believe that these species are physically
They wouldn't. I mean,
dividing in front of us, spreading because they'd be spreading.
they'd be spreading way faster than that. But in the same in the same sense that the little thing at the end was patchy like that when it started to
Yeah.
morph or whatever. This one either it was so well hidden behind it, but it does.
I mean, they mimic each other
Step out of
perfectly.
the other one, and it
Yeah.
is a shadow, like a mimic, of it when it hops away.
I guess maybe, yeah.
I would
have
closer
to
think
see
it's a
again.
representation.
I think it-
than
I think it's just
I don't think
gotta
they just
be
split. I think that they
a
just happen to be
yeah.
a perfect mimic of each other, or this like.
The impression is
Fake
it's
mimic.
meant to give you the impression that
Yeah.
they step out of each other, but it's probably just right behind.
We see that. We see the alligator with the shark's teeth.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, like the
All the
flowers
flowers,
that are
yeah.
just.
Flowers are
clearly
great.
on
Again, yeah, I
different
thought, and then these flower people, and so when they see now here, let's get into a big spoiler. So when they find these people here, they figure something out. They basically learn or believe they come up with a theory, which is true,
Human
which
Hawk's genes.
yeah, which is he's such a writer, but what a leap these characters take in this scene to
Figure that out.
figure this out. It
well,
is
the physicist does it. The
yeah,
smart one does it.
I guess the physicist does it, but it's like.
Why not the biologist?
Why anybody? Why would you ever be thinking that this is how it would happen? So she decides because she sees how these plants are being made, and they're forming into human structures. That the shimmer is a prism, and the prism is not only refracting light and
Wi-Fi signals,
radio signals, whatever, but DNA itself, perhaps
All
memories,
DNA.
perhaps. Andrew has an idea that there's also memories and thoughts and everything, like physical, metaphysical, and beyond, is being put into that and bouncing
You
around.
just walk through the shimmer,
It's
and it's
being
a microwave of
Yeah, it's like a
just
microwave.
happening. Stuff is just going crazy.
All
in
this
there.
shit is splicing into itself, and that these plants are using the Hox gene, which is how the human body is organized by our DNA from head, shoulders, knees to toes, and they are creating their structure based off of that, which is cool.
And it is
And crazy.
scientifically accurate. Now, on that note, because Alex Garland has a little scientist he got on speed dial, and he did for
Larry,
Ex Machina.
I have a question.
Yeah, he's like, look, talk to me. Is this what would happen? And so when he sits down with him and he says, yeah, okay, if you sequenced a leaf, you would get human Hox genes, and all of these things like that are correct. Now, they don't happen. Some of the things might not happen exactly in they do in the movie. Like a plant wouldn't actually grow like that, but the concept behind it is real. It is practical. It does exist in our world. It's not.
I'm fine
it's
with
not
that.
For movies.
I'm fine with that. I think that the leap into exposition by
no,
characters is a little
absolutely
whack. I think they could have just said it's a prism, and like that's it, and then made you think about it enough. But I guess it's not smart enough. Audiences aren't smart enough.
As it goes on, I think it becomes pretty clear that it's just like stuff is like scrambling within each other.
Well,
when
she pricks her blood and she looks, and then she sees the iridescent cell split out of the normal cell. I mean, I think the imagery here of
look
bodies growing or plants growing the shapes of bodies. I mean, that's kind of what else the hell would you think? Like, why is it growing this way? As a scientist, what's your deduction?
Look how as the plant gets older and taller, a smaller plant, it's like going towards it. Like it's got some sort of psychological to it. Like this is my youthful thing.
Yeah.
So that can kind of give you the sense like maybe there's more than just this is the human vessel that I'm building, but there might be more to it. Like these plants are actually trying to reach towards each other. And so it's crazy.
I think for me that is like them wanting to be more visually interesting. Like that's a design choice, not like a story choice.
Well, what about at the end when God, what's her name?
Which one? The doctor?
The physicist.
Well, it's not the end. It's right after this scene.
Josie.
When Josie. So then basically shit starts going crazy here. Okay. Shepard gets killed right before this.
Yeah. Right
okay. She's attacked in the night by a giant bear-like creature. And
when she's there, like that thing just came for her and took her and left.
Yeah.
Like they didn't even engage or agitate. It was just that bear's like person.
You showed the bear.
Gone.
Oh my God. Okay, so later then we meet the bear again,
which is like the most intense scene of the movie for sure.
Incredible.
This is the most uneasy scene of the movie.
And then a very alien shot when they have the 3 heads lined up, and then the bear head sneaks in and becomes 4 heads perfectly lined up, and you're like, ooh, alien, sick, and we're all fucking like the same thing. Mm-hmm. It is us and we are them. This bear has spliced into this to show you how crazy this whole nightmarish world, although she says it's not always nightmarish, it's sometimes very beautiful. Yeah. But this is a fucking nightmare, right?
Yes.
The bear eats the throats of its victims, and when it does, it captures the moment of that person's essence inside of it. And then
it makes fucking horrible noise.
When it talks, it's almost like a parrot where it's talking, but then it makes human noises, and the human noises are the screams of its victims. So the bear, when they first hear it, they think it's Shepard outside, still alive, screaming help.
Because it says very clearly, help me! It screams help me in her voice, and then she runs outside. We hear some sort of horrible, monstrous noise, and then there's just a thump, 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 in it fucking comes into the room.
So in between these, kind of noises are just like screams of terror, which are these people trapped in somehow metaphysically in
They had hinted that it's like perhaps the final like subconscious of the creature will be absorbed in somehow. So I'm not sure if it's like tied to he ate the throat and that's how he got like her voice box or something like that, but more just like the dying spirit became like the final outcry, and now that's all the creature is like emitting is like the final death cry.
I think
it's fucking
horrifying. I think the throat eating is just a physical visual representation of the mind melding subconscious fucking shit.
Voices.
But I agree. But that scene is crazy, and then Julie just pumps a clip into its head.
She bosses it out. She just right into the fucking side of its skull, and the way it like falls over makes a wonderful thump.
Yeah, there's a scene with her after where she's just like thinking, and you can just see it in the background.
It's just like
it's a really cool frame.
The lighting in this was an interesting scene. Very high key, made it the intense shadows on the face of that thing. It's like it's half bear, half like boar. There's other shit going on in there.
There's the cyclical nature of this whole movie, right? Is that the idea that everything is always changing in a constant state of change. So this animal is in a constant state of change, and we're actually seeing it. Its head is not a full head. It looks like to another animal's head, but it's a skull. Yeah. And you got the human.
Yeah. I mean, at this point in the movie as well, I think that the ladies had already discovered the old base, right? The remains of the former team. They see the crazy video of the dude cutting his stomach open.
Oh, we missed that whole
and
thing.
you're like, oh, something's moving. And you're
Yeah.
thinking like is it a plant is like taking him over or something like that? I'm not sure. It was like a vine thing.
No, it was like his insides were alive. His insides were like turning to liquid. There's a shot in that. So there's basically they find a camcorder.
One of my favorites.
You know, and they on it is footage of her husband
Kane.
cutting open another soldier's stomach, and the soldier is saying, "Do it."
Yeah.
He wants him to do it, and they cut it open and peel open his stomach, and there's like in worm-like. It doesn't. It's not. It looks like
It's
a worm,
not-
like a tower,
It looks like a
spiral tower of
vine,
worm.
Some sort of like fleshy vine.
But he puts his hand behind. There's a 2-second shot where he puts his hand under it, and it's passing over his hand, and you're like, "Oh
It's
no!"
just moving. You're just like something's ever changing in these people.
And then they find him, and he has like
This.
spored. Yeah, he becomes
he has
that.
exploded, and oh god, I love just the
an
color.
algae fucking like
Yeah, the color of all this stuff is really cool.
Everything
mess
is so malignant and cancerous in its appearance. All the blues, yellows, all the trees. This dead bodies having. Just look at that.
It also reminded me of like hippie rugs for some reason, you know, like those weird puffy hippie rugs with like all those
Shit looks
yellows
so
and blues
gross
and
right
shit.
there. I just want to get a fucking putty knife and off
That's
the
what they
wall
do,
right
though,
there.
scraping shit.
It also
Man.
reminds me though of like some like Victorian ceilings or something, like some crazy god art.
This
you
is like
know?
straight out of Path of Exile is really what it is right here. This and the lighthouse scene at the end are like Path of Exile
God, the
level.
production design, like how
It is Path of Exile.
they made that. Everything is so textured. Oh, I'm so sorry. Everything is so textured in this, especially
Yeah.
the lighthouse. This very veiny.
This shot reminded me of The Last of Us a little bit too.
Oh yeah.
Have you ever seen The Last of Us, where humans become these weird like coral moth creature things?
I think if you have a keen eye, what was I saying? If you have a keen eye at this point, you may have seen a subtle clue to also further hint that
Yes.
just even the people within there are kind of like constantly
sharing their
shifting and
DNA
sharing with each
yeah,
other.
cyclical. Okay, so in the movie there are 3 instances of a tattoo of a snake eating itself.
an
Perpetual
infinity.
Yeah. And so obviously the big time that we see it is when Lena is in
Natalie Portman.
Yes, Natalie Portman, thank you.
Yeah.
When she's in like the little, she's being interviewed. Kevin, if you could find one of those when she's just sitting in the cell. Yeah, okay, so you can see on her left forearm, there's that tattoo of the snake eating itself. Now, she does not have that when she enters the Shimmer, and there's one very particular scene when they're rowing, they're in the boat going down the swamplands. When right after they encounter the alligator, where she's like, man, I think I got a bruise, and she like pulls her sleeve back, and there's like a little bruise, and there's very clearly no tattoo, and so we're like it draws your attention. Yeah, they made it very
They
very
did, like,
obvious
one of these scenes and
because
they're like,
she's
"Oh!"
like she looks at it in the scene,
It's gone.
and then the very next thing is like I got a bruise. Yeah, look,
Guys,
nothing here.
bruise, nothing.
Yeah. There are 2 other times that we see this tattoo, and Kevin, if you can go back to the picture you had before with the dude on the wall. He has the tattoo on his left forearm. You can kind of see it
I always saw a tattoo on his chest.
right there.
He has
that one too.
He has a tattoo on his chest. Now, did the Kane have a tattoo before and after?
Yeah, he always had I'm fairly certain he always had the tattoo on his chest when they're.
Did he have it after though? I know he had it before.
Yeah. He had it when he was in the hospital.
Okay.
Afterwards, with the things on his chest,
It's like a wolf.
We see the
Yeah.
tattoo on his
Yeah.
pec there. And then the third time, which I've been looking for it the last 2 times, I couldn't see it, but Anya, Gina Rodriguez, has it on her wrist at some point.
Yeah, I didn't see it
couldn't
either.
see it.
I
I
heard
didn't
that
find
too.
it. I don't know when
So this
that
tattoo's
happened.
flying all over the place.
What does that even mean, by the way?
That means that the tattoo had started with the troop that went in, and then jumped onto
Right,
Anya
well,
when they got inside.
Was it even him? Was he the first to have that
I don't know.
tattoo?
It could have been the first people who went inside.
right.
That snake tattoo's jumping around plants and people,
So
and then it goes to
that's
Anya,
just-
and then it goes to Natalie Portman.
Yeah, one of those elements that's just in cycle through whatever it is that's going
There's
on.
another
in the
hint of
Shimmer.
it later in the movie too, Dan, as well. Because we're getting closer to the magical lighthouse moment, I think.
Yeah.
We're getting there. I'm just making sure we got any other. Because
Yeah,
at
we're
this
going
point,
to-
I think what's happening is we lost Shepard, and then we lost
Anya gets killed.
And at this point, the rest of them are, or at least the other two, are kind of just almost giving in.
Yes.
To what's happening and to what's going on, and are starting to understand it a bit more.
Ventress she understands what's happening to her, and she says, if I don't go right now, I'm not going to be the person that ends this. I want to be the one that ends this. So she knows that they're deteriorating. She says, she compares it to the onset of dementia. So you could feel it happening, that they're just deteriorating.
Mind and body, yeah.
And so she's like, I am going to fucking get there under my own power, and then I don't care. I just got to get there. Then you've got Josie Raddick, who says, Ventress wants to face it. You want to fight it, to Lena, and she said, I don't want either of those things. So she gives in. She gives into it, I think.
She wants to become it.
She wants to become it. She just lets it happen.
It's kind of an interesting moment in how she gives in. You know,
very fast.
It's very fast. She's like, I just want it. And it gets up.
And then
takes
boom.
herself,
yeah.
plants are taking over, and she's like, and exit stage left.
She walks, yeah, exactly. She walks around the tree, and then she's fucking a plant.
But you can see it. So I noticed though, when she was sitting down, she has her arms behind her back, and she's like cutting herself open. You can kind of see her moving around.
Yeah, because she's a cutter.
And then she comes up, and she's taking. You can like Natalie Portman's walking up and do her, and she's kind of doing this in the background of the scene without you really thinking about it. And she's taking off things from one of the plants, and then she's rubbing it into her cuts. So she's like force feeding DNA into her. But then, and like here you can see some of the plant starting to come out of her body here. And she's like.
But very quickly she gets, it's a cut back to Lena, then back to her, and she's got it. It's like all at her back.
She's straight up like Groot now.
Yeah.
But
female Groot.
Part of me wonders how much of this is real. Because, so this is what happens in the order of the scene. It's crazy fast. She walks away and then disappears.
Yeah.
Lena can't find her. Then cut, dream sequence. Then cut back, and Lena is now in a totally different place.
Alone.
No. There is one where she comes around. She goes to the right. Lena follows her around, and she emerges to the little town where there's like a little,
but
a
she's
few
gone.
other people. Well, I know, but she's gone. But my impression was that she was just another one of those people that was like standing there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a little bit of a leap, but she,
No,
in the sense
so
that she was
too.
gone, and then after that is the dream sequence. And then when she comes out of that, she's somewhere in the middle of the forest, right?
Yeah.
After the couch scene.
Yeah. It was pretty weird, but
it was very fast.
To me, it felt like this was like the big hammer on the head of fate, and I think Andrew kind of disagrees with me on this, but I feel like big part of this movie is fate, choosing your fate, and becoming like controlling your future. So first one is
those are
there's
two
a very
things.
no, that is not that you control your own fate. That is a fucking. Is that how is that? What is that different from?
Fate and never mind.
Yeah, controlling your own fate. Okay, that's the idea here. Your fate is in your control. So when she says suicide, she says there is no such thing as suicide. Okay, suicide is
almost
self-destruction.
None of us, almost none of us commit suicide.
Okay, we're self-destructing. A choice again here, and then you have the Chicago paramedic. She's obsessed with the idea that these guys go crazy, so she goes crazy herself. And she almost forces it. She forces herself to go crazy. Her hand, she's feeling like her whole body is liquid. She's letting it get to her, and she's letting it go to the next level.
Maybe it also is. Remember, like subconsciousness is flying around or whatever. Maybe she's taking in some of the madness from the former groups or whatever too.
Yeah,
that could be a thing.
But then Natalie wants to beat it and wants to come home. So she does it. The doctor doesn't want to come home. She just wants to go get there, and she does it. This girl is done doing any of this, Julie, and she just wants to become whatever this is. Everybody controls their own fate, except for Shepard, although Shepard is basically telling us she's dead already.
Yeah.
So she's the first one to die because she's already dead, right? Wow, I love that shot.
Yeah.
I love the shot. I love the yellow of the bags or the tent. It's such a cool choice. Brown, gray, yellow. But I do think there's a lot to say about fate and about why people choose to go in there.
Yeah. It's like one of the she says something when she's with Kane in one of the super early scenes, and they're in bed, and she's joking about like cells and how cells are imperfect because they're not immortal. Cells have a flaw because they actually die.
They could
because
be.
that's part of their maybe self-destructive nature. So it just goes along with the theme of the whole movie, I guess. It's like, oh, if they were, perfect, they'd be immortal, but there's just a self-destructive nature about these cells. And what ultimately can lead to the fall of the Shimmer at the end is that self-destructive nature being potentially passed on to the Shimmer itself.
Yeah, and her idea is that he says God doesn't make mistakes, and she says God actually does make mistakes all the time, and there's ways to take advantage of those mistakes, right? Which is how she ends up killing everything, as she takes advantage of a mistake.
Imperfections, yeah, exactly. Anytime any cancerous, incorrectly making of cells, I think is a big part of what the Shimmer does and why everything is so fucked up. Is obviously anytime it tries to recreate what's already there, a tree, an alligator or something, anytime it changes, it gets it wrong, right? It gives it cancer in a sense, where everything's slightly decaying anytime. That's why Kane is kind of falling apart.
The alligator looked fucked up.
The alligator looked
Bear
fucked
looks
up.
fucked up.
They're all
taking in all
in
the
the process. It seems like they're all dying because they're not made properly, right? If you're built with horrible tumors and cancer cells,
I would only imagine it would get worse if it was to expand. You get everything of all the people, of all the animals and creatures of the earth that come with all the terrible things. It would just probably wipe out until they get ultimately self-destruction. Probably the whole planet, annihilation, if you will.
All right, so you want to jump to the lighthouse?
We're at the lighthouse. Natalie Portman, she's alone on a beach, a crazy crystal beach of fucking stuff.
Oh my
but
God.
Okay.
She just sees the lighthouse at this point and just drops her bag and is
arriving
all in.
at this scene. A big thing, I think, is the closer you get to the lighthouse, the deeper into the dream that you get. This whole movie is just a dream sequence. So she jumps from, they're in the town, and then the girl turns into the plant, or the flowers, shit starts coming out of her arms. Then she has another dream where she's talking to Kane, that little couch interaction where he says, hey. And then when she comes out of that, she's now in the somewhere else deep in the forest, and she's just sobbing, bent over, horribly crying, and you can tell it's just this massive jump in time. And then that happens again right away, and then boom, she's right here. She comes on the beach, no explanation of how she arrived there. You just arrived in the middle of this dream. How did I get here?
We didn't touch on the beginning when they first entered that there was also a 3-day gap or whatever when they suddenly were in with the camp set up.
They're like, hey, we've been here for 3 days based on how much food we've eaten and stuff like that.
Clearly just these little
big gaps in time, very dreamlike in the sequence. And then like you said with now we have the beach of crystal trees or glass trees.
Shit is really getting wired together at this point. And you are seeing some phenomenal stuff. Look at that. The second coming of a new evolution.
Visually just amazing.
Spike ice cactuses come out from the ground and shit.
Now, a big crazy thing is the little boneyard that is outside.
Actually, I did not really know what that meant, except for a lot of people got to the lighthouse and died.
So they're arranged, right? And the spinal columns are upside down, right? The heads are planted into the dirt, and the pelvis is up top. Yes. So my only theory about this is that Kane did this. And these
I
are
think
his
Kane did this too.
His former team members, with the exception of the one that is exploded up on the wall. Now, I don't remember if there were only 5 of them.
That's real
or
Kane.
If there were 6. Huh?
Which one's what?
The phosphorus?
No, not that guy. I'm sorry, the one.
On the wall back, in the pool, in the pool.
I keep saying exploded. It just looks like that. But yeah, so I don't remember exactly how many members of their unit there were. I know, right wonderful. There's a lot of good holes in this movie.
A lot of good anuses. Just
Kane does it. That's the only thing I can think of.
This has got to be Kane.
He's going crazy.
Before or after he goes down into there, because on the little video recording we see the beach, the trees. There is this on the camera before he blows himself up. So either he did this,
and he shows it.
He shows it in the video footage.
He's like, "Look at this."
Look, yeah, exactly. And then he sets it up before he ritualistically kills himself.
He had grabbed all of his teammates' remains.
Can you tell if is that hair on
1, 2, 3,
clothing
4,
There's
5,
10
6,
skulls.
7, 8, 9, 10 skulls and 4 bodies.
Yeah,
and just a ridiculous amount of limbs. I don't know. This is the one thing it does not make sense to me. I didn't look it up though. I didn't look it up.
I didn't really either. I remember the skulls being there, but I'm like,
I hope somebody in the chat is
even
just
know if I even
screaming
saw
at
it.
us about what this
Please
means
let
or
us
why
know
this happened.
in our Discord, discord.gg.
Yeah, come to Discord and explain it to me.
I think this might be one of the only times that I felt there was a religious aspect to this. I feel like
well, it's like a monk burning himself when he dies.
Well, exactly. And also, Ventress says at the beginning, or one of the explanations that's not really an explanation, is religious events. People are giving it, they're saying whatever they can. And I think maybe at this point, Kane's gotten here. He has absolutely no other explanation for what the hell is happening besides that this is some act of a god of some kind. He's, maybe this is him giving in, following, I don't know.
Well, he's like, if you're talking about Kane, like, yeah, he clearly had like lost his mind. A quote that he had said that I wanted to make sure I remember was I you? Were you me?
Yeah.
At the end. But he knew it was definitely him, and I guess wanted to put that message out there. And then was also giving some sort of message to his like,
Lena.
mimic character to, find Lena and I don't know, love her.
Okay.
His echo. I love how earlier Natalie Portman, she says there she says a couple, there are new things and then there's echoes of things, and she's like, what do you mean? And they never explain it. She never answers him when she says, what do you mean by echoes and duplicates. And we figure it out later.
Right.
I love that they teased that, they foreshadowed that that this was going to be happening, that Kane was a duplicate, and the Kane that came back wasn't really Kane.
Yeah.
And then like the real Kane, we only see the real Kane in that video.
And the crazy thing, which was the hint I wanted to poke at, is like when he starts talking, you're like, he's not talking like himself. He's talking very weird and with an accent too.
Well, I felt like there was never a time where we heard enough of their conversation
in the bedroom.
In the bedroom.
I did hear a little bit of a Southern influence in there because I was listening for it. There's a tiny bit, but I felt like it was very, very kidding around. But when he was like, sitting against the wall, he was very distraught, and he's like, my mind's set loose. I can't.
Yeah, it was
I can't
super
bear it.
Southern.
I can't bear it. I mean, that might just be like, he's deteriorating, and maybe that's just something.
Well, he might have taken it. He took in a teammate's
maybe there
fucking
was a
dialect.
Teammates. Yeah, exactly.
It's probably the commentary.
It is something that's not.
In addition to everything else cross blending between each other, is that he's taking.
I wonder if in the earlier scene we hear another guy's accent. That would be cool. In the earlier camcorder video,
he probably
had a
Southern accent. Yeah.
See, this is definitely a movie to watch again, and I understand why you've seen it 3 times now, because it is like there's so much going
really
on.
Noticeable. Like he's talking. A bit different for sure.
So then shit goes down. Natalie walks in. She figures out the Kane that came back is not the real Kane. He's dead. He killed himself.
Yep. With the phosphorus grenade.
Is this crazy lighthouse, and she starts hearing a voice.
She hears Ventress down in the black hole,
the belly
or
of
the blue, the blue butthole. If we could, did you have one of the blue?
Down this hole, which is inside the lighthouse. And inside there, try to explain that structure. It is a liquid wall, basically a pulsating, constantly organized structure. Like very defined, organized, looks almost
patterned,
like an organic spaceship underground. And inside is Ventress. Now, let me ask you this.
There's one of the hallway, Kevin.
When you first see her, did she have eyes?
No, she did not.
She doesn't have eyes.
Had like putty.
It's like a imprint.
Yeah.
It looks like the morphing thing when it comes out. Yeah, so
you could see
it's like kind of structured, and all those walls
shimmery,
are fucking
they're all
moving. They're all
the
moving.
whole
It's
time.
like a
Ripple,
big living thing.
Yeah,
but this is basically like the mother of everything, as we
womb
understand it.
Of
it's
creation.
Like all the life that is happening out there. The alien aspect of it is coming from this this core. Yeah. So she's in there.
She's high on it. She loves it. She's like,
she's having like a DMT trip. Like it is some fucking next level shit. She's fucking seeing God.
Well, okay. So what does she say into that before she kind of evaporates? We will be broken down fragmented into our smallest pieces until not one piece remains.
Yeah.
Annihilation, and then she like her shit starts coming out of her.
Mentos freshness, Mentos freshness.
And now, when I first saw that, my initial impression was like, "Oh God, no!" But they kept at it. I was just like, "Oh, shit's coming out of her mouth." It looked a little bit ridiculous. I was kind of like, But they kept at it, and they keep it going. More and more comes out, and it gets more just visually insane. And Ventress herself evaporates. She just like shrivels into this glowing ball, and that just leads you into this chaos of like the next 8 minutes of this movie, which
Why did she explode into a million pieces?
Why did she turn into a hairy butthole anus thing?
Okay, that's I have very specific
4D,
questions.
yeah, why did she turn into a 4D butthole?
Now, my thing about that is
You look into the eye of the butthole and just fly down.
Why did no one else? Why did that not happen to no one else? Like, is she fuel for the thing? Was another member of Kane's team evaporated so that a clone of Kane could be made via the immortal butthole? Because it's one of those where Ventress didn't get a little mirror. She wasn't mirrored by the creature,
but her blood sucked
exactly.
into it.
It was like, okay, here's your DNA. I'm going to take that into the butthole that was immortalized, like the.
Which I had to do one of these afterward, by the way. I was like,
oh, I know,
get it off. Is there anything on me?
That got taken in. Okay, it's like, okay, this is what I need to replicate and spit out, and I'm going to use this evaporated Dr. Ventress that I just took all of her cells and all of her energy, and now I'm going to turn that into this other thing, which is just constant recycling, the snake eating itself, the whole cells constantly in a state of change.
I gotta read more because I want to know why she became this frat. How did she? Why that? What happened
why the
to
thing?
her?
I
Why
think
does that happen? It
that's
it feels so left field. Like I guess she's on like the throne. She's on this
pedestal.
Like pedestal. Yeah. Maybe you're there long enough.
Well, I think maybe that's when she says it's inside of me. Maybe that's just how that. Maybe that's the thing, right? That's what struck the lighthouse. Ventress went down there. It fucking went into her. Lena comes down. She explains it's in me. It from the inside out deteriorates her, reforms itself, then takes the blood. And says, "Okay, I'm gonna now make this into.
I guess
make something.
It took in a lot of cancer right there. So maybe it just made a big butt tumor thing.
I guess she's at the ultimate point of refraction. As well.
Well, when the first thing that she says when Lena comes down is the final stage. The implication.
She's like literally morphing in front of us because it's happening so fast and so intensely. Mm-hmm. Okay, so
now we get to see the. Human representation of a cell process pretty much happened. As they split the new
she
Lena,
watches it
and she gets to see it like become and like I want to mimic you now. Creepy as fuck also.
Really cool.
Oh my god. So when that liquid metal reformed into the walls of the little chamber she's in, and then you have your humanoid creatures, what they call it. Little fun tidbit about the humanoid. It is played by the same Japanese actress who was in Ex Machina. Sonoya Mizuno.
That is a cool tidbit.
Yeah.
That is cool.
Yeah, she
was really
humanoid.
skinny.
Yeah. I know. I thought it was funny. You two both laughed when it did the little squat turn.
Yeah, it was so.
That was such an awkward.
It was
movement.
so serious. Then it was like she's like,
yeah.
It just like.
I mean,
why did that happen?
I'm not gonna like lie to myself. If like I'm in an intense moment and then the creature strikes a very awkward pose, like sticking its ass and groin out or some shit.
I thought
I'm gonna laugh.
I thought it was a kind of dominance stance where I'm looking down over you, and it wasn't meant to be. Obviously, it was just came off
right
that
after
way.
that, she kind of it became more of like a sleek animal jaguar pose. But the first one was just
getting
like
down.
When Dakota steps on a barking spider, he makes the exact same pose.
It took me out of the moment for a second.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
But we're seeing some sort of crazy process. It like. The thing you gotta remember also is that she has an initial very violent reaction to the whole process. She like starts shoot the fucking thing.
And it's sick.
So patterns come out of it, and then it's the
crazy.
And then it steps out.
So instant violence is not working, and then she tries to go for like instant like retreat and retreat, and it reacts the opposite way. It's like slams her into the door as hard as she's like trying to leave. I guess
that was a very interesting thing because every other time that she kind of interacted, it was a mirror. It danced around the little camcorder and it reached for it when she tried to hit it, but it didn't mirror everything. It prevented her from leaving, and I think the moment when she
kind of mirroring.
Well, but. It's not in the same sense that it
was almost
slammed,
like magnetically went the other way.
And ran for the door, and it followed her instead of like turning and running the other way. You know what I mean? But what it did just slammed.
Because it's not a mirror; it's a mimic.
It's but in the same sense that it prevented her from leaving until she gave in, and that was when she realized, okay, it knows that I'm trying to go out. So if I just like, okay, I'm okay staying here, it's gonna let me up. But then the whole fall. There's a very, very dream sequence with that because there was like 3 times that we do a dip to white, or and then we come back to her like on the floor unconscious again. It's like how much time was she unconscious?
Yeah,
for?
I don't know. It felt like me. So first off, I feel like this very contained puzzle. The lighthouse was a very contained puzzle. Like you have to get out this one door, there's one exit, but everything you do is being mirrored by this thing that is like learning from you at the same time it's doing everything you're doing and like not exactly trying to not make you leave. It doesn't really know what it's doing.
Well, maybe it's just trying to learn you just in the steps to becoming you, anything it do to get closer, because it only really started becoming her once they touched.
It felt like a Tomb Raider puzzle where you there was a certain pattern you could walk that you could get out the door because whatever, and she figured it out later. But that was so scary to me because it's so simple, and it very much, like I said to Andrew after, I was like, that scene felt like a book. It felt like a book scene. It reminded me of Wrinkle in Time and Harry Potter and these very contained, very heady little situations that are not scary when you think about it, but when everything comes together, it's horrifying. That like it feels like she's gonna be trapped there forever, even though she can do whatever she wants. She's not being attacked. She's not being actually contained. There's no way for her to leave. Yeah. But she ultimately overcomes that and finds a solution, which is
self-destruction.
Self-destruction.
Seems it's like turns into what's almost the opposite of what happened with Cain, where he had like I don't know if it's like a passionate one and then a self-destructive one, where he took on the self-destruction and told his mimic, like, go be passionate or whatever.
Well,
she was quite the opposite, where she's passionate about it, but, she's ultimately self-destructive. Maybe learns that that's a trait that needs to be handed off to the iridescent mimic version of herself.
I think in that my initial thoughts were that Cain was actually committing suicide, whereas Lena taught like her mimic to self-destruct, because like Ventress says, none of us commit suicide, we almost self-destruct, and she kind of jabs Lena by saying the happy marriage, and she jabs her with that, because they know. But I think it's, oh my god, I just lost my train of thought.
I'll give you a train of thought here. Cain must have been there for a long time with his mimic, because think about where his mimic is at. His mimic can talk. He is having conversations with it. He is so far gone as well in terms of his mind and body. I think that is a big, interesting part of it, is that Natalie, her mimic just turns into her physical form before she destroys it. But Cain's has gone so far, and he must have taught it a lot. Yeah. Remember? He's like, they become like friends, and he's not sure who's who's the real one, because he's been there for so long. Because remember, he has been there, they said, for at least a year.
And Lena was in there for 4 months.
And it makes you wonder why the mimics, the new iridescent ones, like once they're created, they're immune to the whole refraction prism effect at that point moving forward. Like, so if the mimic's there and he's like, hey, and they're there for a while, is he not going to continue?
I think he does.
I think he does, because even when he comes out, he's deteriorating constantly.
He is.
Until the shimmer.
But he's not got, like, I'm just saying, like, we're not going to see him with animals or plants, or he's...
Right. Like,
he's only took in human
turns
stuff.
into the lighthouse, essentially.
You know, we should hit with this just because it's a really cool thing. And so, okay, fuck it. Actually, let's wrap how she does it. So, in a really cool, heady way, she takes the phosphorus, which is, basically a chemical reaction, and then in the mother, it bonds with the world and then spreads because of the prism effect to everything else, and everything else becomes phosphorus fire and destroys itself. Self-destruction through the process which it is enacting this DNA spectrum bonding. Super heady and cool.
She fucking gave an alien creature a human weakness. And
welcome to Earth. Yeah. Kill yourself.
Fucking A.
So then she gets back. Somehow we assume she walks down the coast. In the
same way that Cain just appears.
Yeah.
She just
now
is back.
Cain must have walked out. We realize Cain must have walked out and then gone into like the world. Right?
Well,
that's why they don't exactly know how long he was in there, because they have no idea how long he's been back. And he just shows up the house and isn't in like instant lockdown at the fucking thing.
Yeah.
He somehow got out and wandered his way back home.
Interesting.
So there's a lot, again, the beating over the head with the cells dividing. Me and Andrew talk about this, and in this scene you can see a little bit of it.
Glass of water.
So they have the hands and the fingers behind the glass of water kind of combining and moving as if cells are combining and splitting. It's not this exact shot, but this scene where they do it. Then when they, at the end of the movie, when she takes a sip from the glass of water,
only time she does it.
the water droplets from the mouth and the glass split again like a cell, and she like notices it and thinks about it. There's
So much image representation.
yeah, there's just he does it the entire movie. There's another one, isn't there? I can't remember. You mentioned another one when I was bringing this up in the car. But so then she comes home, and then we get the kind of like insidious ending that I did not see coming. And I want to know what you thought. To explain to me what you thought happened in the ending.
So you're talking about when she and Kane are back together again after they're drilling her with questions as they have the whole movie, or kind of have a glimpsed at the whole movie. She has permission, it looks like, to be able to visit Kane, or who we now know as the fake iridescent mimic Kane or whatever.
Because the shimmer has evaporated, and they sent a team. It's burnt to the ground. There is no more shimmer. And when that happened, Kane stabilized and became lucid and was talking.
Yeah, he suddenly was out of critical condition and good. Because when we left, he was in there dying pretty much. Now, suddenly, she goes to visit him. I'm okay. Everything's good. And one of the first, I'm not going to say the quote directly, but one of the first things she asks him is, "Are you Kane?"
She says, "You're not Kane,
You're
are
not
you?"
Kane, are you? And
he says, "I don't think so."
which we all know.
Yeah. We
all know
at that point.
We don't know what she's going to do.
But she's not Lena either.
Well, now
let's see.
his line is very, he's following orders. It seems like he's like, "Are you Lena?" Because that's what Kane said. If you get out of here, you find Lena.
Yeah.
He's like, "I will." And so that's him. Like his objective is to find Lena, who's like presented herself really. But their little embrace, like I was surprised that is that their shared weird crazy DNA drawing them to each other, because she's just like, she knows it's not Kane and she's okay with that.
She's happy with that.
But she's still Lena.
Get out. She's not still Lena.
I think
she's
she
not.
I think she just got reinfected again. By
Yeah.
the shimmer.
I think
she was infected. She was infected the whole time.
Yeah, she's
She was
infected
infected the whole time, but
you see it in her eyes,
yeah,
right?
I think after the embrace, like now it's like she's.
Well, no, I think she is basically committing to, okay, this shimmer changes things. I am changed. I'm not destroyed. I'm something new now.
Mm-hmm.
Kane,
Don't have
this is my new Kane. And guess what this Kane doesn't have? The memories of me cheating on him. But he's still my Kane. And I can have him now, and we can make a new world together, and we can make new things happen by combining our new day. And it feels like they're going to bang after this and make some fucking crazy kids.
Annihilation's going to start over, probably.
It's going to, it's like from their spawn, right? Mm-hmm. Whatever they're going to make is going to be...
I don't even know. I don't know if they could just have sex and suddenly turn into the butthole again. Like
it could turn into the butthole.
So. That is all well and good. I don't think either of them are ever getting out of that facility.
Yeah, but they're going to bang in there.
They're going to totally bang in there. And I think, and then it's going to be like a Resident Evil where, no, the base is shut down. There's a creature inside. But I don't think I think they're going to get like dissected.
Yeah. I have no idea.
There's two. In the reality,
they're the only remaining things from inside the shimmer. They're the only evidence that anything happened inside.
And they test her blood once. They're going to see the iridescent shit in it.
Exactly.
Too.
Yeah.
He's going to have it in him as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. In a real world, they're dead for testing.
Practically,
probably, for sure. They're dead to testing.
But I like the idea that they get out of there and they're new. Him without the memories of her infidelity, her having maybe I've been reconstructed into a new person who doesn't have those faults
I don't have
anymore.
that. Yeah, that's not part of me.
That's not me
I'm a
anymore.
new version.
Yeah.
She's probably got the sass of the paramedic and the southern draw of the guy who was in there before, the horrorness of the bear in the corner. Like, it's when you walk out of there and they're trying to bring in these ideas that all these crazy effects are happening. It's like, well, you got to be understanding that maybe she comes out and she shits in a litter box because she's got cat instincts now,
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they're crazy, It could be
why
something.
didn't she light on fire with the phosphorus?
You mean who? Which one? This one? This Lena?
Like, at all?
Like, everybody else lights on fire except for her.
Well,
she's part of the system, but she doesn't light on fire.
No, there's no other, like, physical people. It's not like...
All the animals and everything that was touched by it.
Yeah, we presume it's all
The
burned
animals.
down. The bears and the cross flowers.
Are we
and
saying that
everything
all the
inside of-
bears and stuff are
No,
still
no, no,
walking
no.
around fine?
Well, I'd imagine that. I
'Cause
guess
if
I didn't
the
think
trees-
about.
the
I didn't
trees
think
all
about them all
destroyed.
Did just
bursting
the
into
core
flames.
burn
yeah.
and everything went dead? Or
Well,
are
I
they
mean,
still
does
walking
that
around?
does that mean that everything surrounding the lighthouse is like scorched earth? No trees,
Yeah.
no swampland. It's just one big
Anything
black.
that got, I assume that
Because-
anything that has been affected by the refraction of the shimmer is turned into phosphorus fire and burnt to ash.
Well, I guess that makes sense. They didn't show us anything besides the like crystal trees kind of burning and collapsing.
But if
And,
crystal
like,
trees are gonna
well,
burn,
yeah, well, I mean, but that's the most violent example of change. It's the most central to the lighthouse, the ones that are affected most strongly. That's the most departed thing from a tree that we saw in the entire movie. But the swamps, a lot of them are still normal trees with minor imperfections. Maybe that phosphorus fire only went through and killed all the cancerous malignant growths because those are the only
yeah, like
things
all
that
the
were
molds,
affected.
like what are those? Are those burnt? I assume
What
that
are those?
everything. What are those? I assume that everything catches fire and turns to ash because he says everything is ash, but he might just be referring to the stuff around the lighthouse.
I assumed he was only referring to the lighthouse, the creature, and like what was in the little basement.
But there's
And
two more
obvious-
books.
There are two more books.
What are they about?
Authority and Acceptance, or Acceptance and Authority. I can't remember which order. Don't know what they're about, but I know that we're not going to be seeing movie versions of them.
Probably not.
No, it's like
Yeah.
he's like, I'm not doing that.
I don't know. I mean, again, if it was like the U.S. government, they probably would have grabbed some samples and burned everything else up to make sure it never happened again, I guess, if you want to look at the plausible
got that.
reality
They got
thing.
that at the end. The evidence destroyed.
All right. Well, I'm a huge fan of the movie,
The movie's
Big
great.
fan.
and
I
I'm
read
really
some
happy I
fun
saw
facts,
it.
but I don't know.
rate it.
I could read a couple of fun
10.
facts, I guess. I didn't even read these yet, but let's see. In the movie, the house they stay in the Shimmer is the same house that Lena lives in outside the Shimmer. Oh, I'd heard that
Okay,
before.
I saw. Okay,
That's why the big theory that
stairs.
thoughts and subconscious are also being refracted into the reality of the prism is
Yeah.
that her house was inside the prism from her thought.
it was her house. Okay, here's the thing. I thought that because the shot
Stairs.
when she walks to the stairs and looks at the picture is the same shot when Kane comes home, walks the stairs and looks at the picture. But then when they went into the living room, I was like, oh, this is like some podunk living room. It's got
Yeah.
some weird chair. Like hers was decorated nicely. I was wondering that. I thought I couldn't tell if it was the same or if it was like she was just thinking it was similar. But it sounds like maybe it was. That's crazy.
Yeah. That's
So
awesome.
literally entire structures. Yeah, it looked like a swamp person's home, the decorations,
Yeah.
though.
Director Alex Garland decided not to reread the novel Annihilation. Instead, he decided to adapt it. I mean, that kind of makes sense. He clearly didn't reread it. He just did his thing.
Well, it's kind of interesting. You read once through, and then it's like, okay, what am I left with? What do I take away from that? The rough feelings of it. I mean, it worked.
Where are you pulling these off of?
This is IMDb facts, I think. Just grabbing do some of the popular ones. Some notes here about the stuff Andrew said at the start where they, weren't confident about the ending, and that's why it's on Netflix or coming out Netflix early. Oscar Isaac filmed this movie and Star Wars The Last Jedi on adjacent studio lots.
Oh, my God.
He had the same trailer for both films and would often film scenes for both movies on the same day.
Jesus.
Wow, how are you able to just like creatively be in the zone for one movie and then jump to the other? And like, I don't think
Talent.
that is talent.
good.
That is amazing. And then the last thing here was just talking about the snake tattoo that had popped up on multiple people and stuff like that. So, movie was seriously an awesome mind fuck.
Yeah, definitely a mind fuck.
Great mind fuck for
I
sci-fi.
recommend it so hard. Please go
Encourage
see it. I'm so
everyone.
sad that
Go
it's
spend
not
money on this
gonna
movie.
be super successful. I think it could have been. I think that they fucked up, but that is what seems to be happening
I think
with
the release
his
time
films.
was
Yeah,
poor.
unfortunate.
Yeah.
But that's their decision.
Yeah.
That's their decision. They
I
put
mean-
it right next to Black Panther
Yeah.
and all these other gigantic movies that you know are going to just fucking take a hammer to its head. And that's sad because this was a great cast, great writing, great directing, great story, really good movie, and a mind fuck. You don't often get that experience where you just walk in a theater, it blows you away and smacks you upside the head with something that is totally different than what you expected, and you just can't stop thinking about it when you leave.
A real experience of seeing a movie, not just, going and, oh, okay, that was cool. But it makes you think.
Let's give a out of 10 grade for this
Fuck
movie.
you,
Why
I hate
not?
grades.
All right, I can start if you'd like. Out of 10, I mean, all the praises you gave, great story, very intriguing. You're talking about it after, which I think is a huge bonus. The visuals look great. Acting will pull me back a little bit on that one. I'm going at 7.8.
7.8.
7.8
I hate ratings
for me.
No.
My rating is see it. It is it is a binary system. It is 0 or 1. 1 means see it. 0 means don't see it. This is a 1. Please see it.
Okay.
My rating is I've seen it 3 times. I think you know what that means.
You love
I
it.
encourage you, please go see it. You get anything that we can do to support movies like this and just keep getting them made.
Has it made money?
It's no. I think domestically it's only recovered half the budget.
Oh my God! Seriously?
Domestically,
I really hope that doesn't mean
I think it's
that
at
like
20.
Sony's back.
It's
They're
at
like,
24
I
million.
told ya.
No.
That's
Now-
what happens. It's self-fulfilling.
Yeah, but that's also because they didn't release it internationally. I mean, there's no China market, which would have, I don't know how they would have responded to the movie, but anything other than the U.S., Canada, oh, I'm sorry, not China, but anywhere other than those 3 places.
Okay, but how much was do we know how much the Netflix deal was?
No, I don't know the numbers on that, but I think they probably definitely recouped that because it's like, global release.
Definitely needs a lot more attention and love than maybe it is getting. I would agree with you on that, guys.
Yeah.
Especially if you like to think and don't want, see something fun and sci-fi that isn't just dudes shooting up aliens and saving the planet. This is going to make you think a lot. And if you see it with friends, you're going to have a lot to talk about.
bad.
So it's a really good time.
Yeah, pretty bad. So far it's at $22 million
22.
out of its $40 million budget. And what's kind of worse is that it made half of that, $11 million, on the opening weekend.
Oh, yeah.
So it is not getting the word of mouth buzz that you would hope it would to kind of keep it trickling and maybe have a slow start and ramp up, which I do believe that a movie like this can and should have, is that people are like, oh, I should see that.
Yeah.
I heard it was cool, and then they see it and they tell their friends, you got to see
I mean,
that. You might have missed it. Because everybody spent their money on Black Panther.
Yeah.
Like, legitimately. Like, that's what everybody has been seeing.
I have literally told every single delivery person or anyone I interact, I'm like, hey, you should go see Black Panther. I've told like 4 bartenders, or not Black Panther, Jesus Christ, Annihilation.
That's
he
how
just
they got you.
I go see Annihilation. He's like, I heard a guy saying, oh, I think I'm going to go to the movies tonight. I'm like, Annihilation over the entire bar. I'm like, go see it.
We never talked
Anything
about
I
the
can
sex
do.
scene, by the way.
Oh, showing the affair.
The affair,
scene?
yeah.
Whatever. She does a weird thing with her back that I feel like was very, like...
It's like awkward sex. It's probably like, I
well,
mean,
She's like, oh, God.
I feel like she's like...
it's
like a butterfly,
sex
like,
if you know
sucking
you're,
him
you're
in.
not
Yeah.
supposed to be doing it.
Oh, whatever.
Did you like that better or The Shape of Water sex?
Shape of Water, fish sex is best sex. Okay. All right, that's great. Let's wrap.
Let's
Blade
wrap
Runner
it up.
sex.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another Movie Buffed podcast. We have a lot of podcasts coming
your
at
face
you.
has been covered the entire
This upcoming week on Monday, we have a show priority. It's going to be me and Slime as a lot of our production team, Dan here, Andrew here, Ken, are all going to be heading out of town to Jakarta, right? To
GESC.
to GESC.
Yeah, we'll be at GSC.
production.
So look out for our content coming out there. It's going to be really fun. The GSC team is pretty cool, guys. I'm excited for them to get involved in Dota. I think people should be into it. I think Southeast Asia is an amazing place to have events. Having gone to the Manila Major, having traveled a little bit around that area, they're just obsessed with Dota. And they sold out, like, for the event. So I'm pumped to see that crowd. It's going to be fun.
It's going to be super hype. That's great. Does mean that I'll be trying to hold my own here on some of these podcasts. So, yeah, me and Slime will do show priority talking about the PGL Bucharest Major that's going on right now. Some hype games today. We'll talk about it on Monday, all the content that happened during that show. On the Thursday is another Patch Countdown stream. It's already been 2 weeks again. Can't believe it. And I'll have to do this one mostly alone, but I'll probably, which is going to be a lot of fun. But I'm sure Slime and I think LD are still in the office, so they might drop in. I think I'm going to mostly play a lot of games, probably with the people watching. We're just there to wait because we want to patch. And after PGL Bucharest, it's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, we'll probably have
Sub-games,
some
bro.
sub-games and sub-fun. And if you want to be in on where potentially a lot of that sub-advantages are, you have to check out our Discord. Go hit up our Discord. It's discord.gg/BTS. We have a nice, thriving community now. We're all chatting about
Popping off,
movies.
man.
We're chatting about Dota, CSGO, FGC, lots of stuff going down, a lot of cool, nice
Smash.
people. We're sharing fun drama. We're giving our first insight to a lot of the drama that's happening on the scene to our subs, and we're also giving them a lot of sneak previews to our content as they come out. So a lot of sub perks there. And then finally, all the merch you see here at the head of the table, if you go check out our Designed by Humans shop, which is right there at the bottom of the screen, kappa.ly/BTS pods merch. You can support the show and support our new products by hitting us up there in the store. More podcasts to come, I've heard today. I'm excited. We have even more products.
No spoilers.
I'm not spoiling anything, but it's crazy.
The next podcast show thing we announce is going to be a pretty cool thing.
Yeah.
It's a pretty big idea. I'm really excited about it.
This week, we were testing out products for various shows. We had announced not long ago the Summit of Power.
Summit of Power.
Beyond the Summit is now dabbling in the FGC.
Dude, how excited are you?
What a time to be
So
alive.
hype.
So a lot of hype stuff happening at Beyond the Summit. So we appreciate all your support as you continue to tune in. Thank you guys. Take care, and we'll see you the next time for more BTS podcast action. Bye now.